Action. Hi everybody, my name is Heather Wallace. I'm the owner and operator of Animal Bodywork at Aromatherapy. I am a certified equine sports massage therapist and equine ergonomist, and as such I specialize in the biomechanics of the horse and how to keep them in proper balance and muscular stability. So the topic I'm going to be speaking on over the next 4 videos is taming the tension. So while I am a professional and obviously I get to work with a lot of amazing horses, most people don't have access to a professional or need a little bit more attention for their horse than they could possibly afford or have access to. So one of the things I want to talk about during the course of these videos is how to spot tension in your horse, whether it's from lameness, just natural biomechanic issues, saddle fit issues, or maybe playing a little too hard, or just general maintenance. The other thing we're going to talk about is some basic massage techniques that you can do at home, some aromatherapy basics that you can incorporate into your massages and with your horse, and then also some great stretching techniques that you can do before and after a ride. As we talk about taming the tension, this first video is going to focus on the biomechanics of the horse, looking for tension through the top line and through the body at a standstill before we really get started. So the first thing we're going to do for taming the tension is figuring out how to spot tension in your horse. For that, I would like to introduce my friend Delight, who came to me 6 months ago, who was labeled unrideable and was really teeming with tension. He is a thoroughbred and as such can be quite sensitive. Luckily for us, but unluckily for him, he actually did show up a little bit lame today. So he is probably going to show us more than he usually does, but that's great for you guys. And then we're going to follow up by showing you a more stoic horse, because odds are your horse is not going to necessarily show you everything, because they do tend to be more stoic and hide their reactions because they are prey animals. You need to be able to see very closely. So we're going to see the reactive and sensitive horses and then the stoic horses as well. So actually, before we do anything, I'm going to move aside here in front of my friend and we're going to take a look at how he's standing. As you can see, he does not look like he's dozing. He's not very relaxed right now. His head is up, his nose are flaring, he's moving. We're going to back up, back. Come on. Good boy. Back up. Now you can see he's reticent to back actually, and so because he is lame, we're aware that that might be the issue because we're not sure exactly where he's lame now. But if you take a look, you can see that he's putting less pressure on the front right leg. He's got that forward, which is actually uncommon. Most horses will stand left leg forward and graze that way. That's 90% of horses. As you can see, his mane is falling to the right. We like to talk about that when in terms of asymmetry for horses, because the mane will always fall to the side of lesser muscle. Gravity is doing its job. And so we know, plus he was a racehorse, so we know he was left side dominant anyway. And then the other thing we're going to take a look at, right, we've got the high head carriage, but we're also going to take a look at how he's standing in the back. Is he tucked underneath him? Is he spread out? Is he kind of standing really far open to get support? So right now he's kind of got a neutral position and he's balanced himself, but you can tell he wants to move. So I'm going to go ahead and reset him before we start the next. Come on. And you can see now, right, he's a little bit lame. Poor baby. Stand. So our timing is very good today. Okay. So the first thing I do before I massage a horse is I always trace the bladder meridian, which is going from poll to tail. Now this horse has had regular massage for the last 6 months. He's quite used to it, but again, because he's lame, we might see more of a reaction, right? You're gonna show everybody? Stand. So I'm gonna go ahead and just trace my hand down, and I'm looking for him to dip out, hollow, swish his tail, and I'm going just right down the top line to the hock. He's quite good at this. He knows his job. He also knows that means a massager's coming. So hopefully that will help him calm down and relax a little bit. He let a big breath. The next thing we're going to do is a nerve test. This is something you might find your veterinarian does, your chiropractor does, and also you can do. And it's really easy. You have to trace the nerve pathways from the top line, but they can't hide a reaction. So we're gonna go ahead, and his mane is on this side, so it might be a little hard to see in the neck. But basically, so stand. We're gonna trace our fingers down, see? So what I'm looking for is movement through the neck. Nice little shake there. And then behind the shoulder, see how that shoulder is jumping? Got a little mad. Can't hide your reactions. So right there, shoulder ribs are moving, so we know he's a little mad. He's definitely a little bit ouchy. Definitely seems like that shoulder's bothering him. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just be careful of that leg. He's a polite boy, and I'm just gonna do down here. So we didn't see a lot back there. It definitely seems to be more in the front for him. And now we have the licking and chewing because he knows what's coming next. So that's the beauty of regularly working with a horse. He shows you everything. We know now we have to focus a little bit more on the areas that we're moving. You see how he's sensitive to it. If an area doesn't move at all, we want to see it flicker kind of like a fly's landing on him. If it doesn't move at all, stand, then that's a good sign there's a lot of tension or something might be out of alignment, maybe a little compressed. If it's hyperactive like we saw here, then that's an indication that there's too much nerve involvement. There's too many things firing there. And it's a general occasion that something's out of alignment. Maybe it's in the wrong place. For this guy, he does tend to brace his shoulder, and that could be an explanation of why he's bracing that shoulder, because look at that, all that. I'm just touching the wither there. So I hope you're seeing this. This is a very sensitive horse. He's going to show you everything. Are you mad about it? Do you want me to just go on with it? Okay. So we're going to do that. So we nerve test down, and basically the nerve test is the same thing as the bladder meridian. So we're tracing pole to tail down to the hock, about an inch or two underneath the vertebra. And then when we do the nerve test, we're basically starting at that area where we traced and just going down with our fingertip. A lot of people like to use a fingernail. Some people like to use like the cap of a pen. All that matters is that you do it gently, but you get a reaction no matter what. So it's a good way to see kind of what is the baseline for your horse. So one of the best and easiest ways to tell how much tension your horse has throughout the top line is to actually lift their tail. So we know he's a little bit upset right now and a little tense. Stand. So we're going to do it, and I'm going to show you in a way that he's not going to hopefully kick me. So one of the things to do, so we're just going to take it like we normally would and just lift it. So he's actually already got his tail lifted a little bit. He's very tense right now. But in a really tense horse, like if his back were completely tight, we wouldn't be able to lift that tail at all. Now this horse gets body work every 2 weeks, so that even though he's lame, it's nice to see that he's not holding a lot of tension through that top line. So we'll show you on another horse, and hopefully you'll see a big difference. Okay, so I'm back, and you guys have met Delight, but now I'd like to introduce you to Flax, who is a Mustang that was in the wild and has, now been living on a farm for several years. But because she was wild, she's going to have a little bit of different responses when it comes to hiding pain or discomfort. Plus, she doesn't get regular body work. So I expect her to be a little bit more stoic to what we're going to do. And as you can see, she's a lot more awake than our friend Delight, who is used to regular body work. Flax, we're going to first look at her stance. And you can see she's a little antsy, she's bothered by the flies, no big deal. Her head's kind of neutral, but she wants to move around. Hi, baby. Back up. But we're going to take a look and just look at her body, right? So she's got a little bit of a sway to her back. So when we look at that, we can see that there's this dip here, right? So if we were to run our hands down through it, she's holding a lot in her belly. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on her shoulders and her hips. So just from a bodywork perspective, I'm going to recognize that like her core might be a little bit weak. And are you already relaxing? That's so nice of you. So the first thing we're going to do is run our hands down her bladder meridian, like we did with Delight. And let me get my hands correct. There we go. And we're just going to run down her all the way to the hock. And I want to do it again. So we're going to be about an inch or two below her main line and her spine. And we're just going to trace. Not only does this activate the bladder meridian and some acupressure points, but it also lets her know we're going to be ready for massage. So the other thing we're going to do is a nerve test. Can you turn around and face this way, baby girl? Good, stand. And so we're just going to come down here. And again, we have this right-sided mane, so it's hard to see. Not a lot of movement in the neck. Not a lot of movement in the back. Not a lot of movement in the hind. So she's very compressed throughout. This is very often the case with an animal that has not had regular body work. They tend to get really tight, and then their muscles stabilize the vertebra, and everything is held very tight. Plus, she lives out and in a herd, and so as such, she's going to have different body shape and a body type than an animal that maybe is stalled all the time. She's going to have more muscle, and she's going to maybe be held a little tenser.